few changes to the quiet family. The war ended and Mr. March was safely at home, now a minister. Mrs. March spent a great deal of time getting ready for Meg's wedding. John Brooke went to war for a year, got wounded, and was sent home. He worked hard to get well and earn money for a home for Meg. Meg grew strong in character and learned how to take care of a home. She felt herself the luckiest girl around. Jo never went back to work for Aunt March, who took quite a liking to Amy. She bribed Amy with drawing lessons. Jo devoted herself to books, and Beth, who stayed delicate long after her illness. The newspaper paid Jo $1 a column. Jo was happy, yet still hoped for something more. She worked on a larger manuscript that grew bigger in the little tin box. Laurie went to college to please his grandfather. He was a favorite at school because of his money, manners, talent, and kind heart. He would have become spoiled except for those who loved him back home. Meg and her mother worked hard to prepare the home that Meg would have with John. She learned from Hannah how things should be done. Finally, it came time for John to get the marriage license for the wedding.
Jo went for a walk with Laurie. They talked about his grandfather and how much money Laurie spent while at college. He talked about a boy named Parker who was in love with Amy. Jo said, "We don't want any more marrying in this family for years to come." "You'll go next, Jo," Laurie said. "No one will want me," Jo said. "There should always be one old maid in a family." Laurie said, "I promise, you'll be next." On the day of Meg's wedding, June roses bloomed over the porch. Meg looked like a rose as well. She would not wear silk, lace, or orange flowers. "I don't want to look strange or fixed up," she said. "I just want those around me who I love, and I want to look like my old self." She made her own wedding gown, and her sisters braided her pretty hair with lilies of the valley, which John liked. The three sisters wore suits of thin silver gray and had small roses in their hair. Everything was about to be as natural and homelike as possible. When Aunt March arrived, she was shocked to see the bride run to greet her and find the bride and groom putting up flowers that had fallen. "You shouldn't be seen till the last minute," Aunt March said.
But Meg declared she wasn't a show. "I'm going to have my wedding just as I like it," she said, giving John a hammer. A crash and a laugh from Laurie came as he shouted, "Jo's upset the cake again." There was no bridal procession, but silence came over the group as Mr. March and the young couple took their places under the green arch of flowers. Jo did not cry as Meg looked straight into her husband's eyes and said, "I will." Beth kept her face hidden under her mother's shoulder, and Amy stood like a graceful statue. The minute she was married, Meg shouted, "The first kiss for Marmee," and gave her mother a heartfelt kiss. After lunch, people walked in groups of 2 and 3 through the house and the garden. Laurie shouted, "All the married people hold hands and dance around the new husband and wife. The unmarried men and women dance in couples outside of the circle."
He grabbed Amy and danced until everyone followed them. Then Mr. Lawrence walked up to Aunt March. She tucked her cane under her arm and hopped away to join hands with the others to dance around the bridal pair. When Meg and her new husband led Aunt March to see her carriage later, she told him, "You've got a treasure. See that you deserve it." The couple's little house was close by. Meg came down the stairs looking pretty in a simple suit and hat. Everyone gathered around to tell her goodbye. Meg said, "I'm not separated from you, Marmee, or will love you any less for loving John so much." She hugged her mother and promised her father to come every day. "Thank you all for a happy wedding day." They watched her go with faces full of love, hope, and pride. She leaned on her husband's arm. Her hands were full of flowers, and the June sunshine brightened her happy face as Meg's married life began.
Every few weeks, Jo would shut herself in her room and write away at her novel with all of her heart and soul. One day in the street, she noticed a boy reading a newspaper. He told her if she could read it, he told her she could read it if she wanted. When she finished reading a story of love, mystery, and murder, the boy talked of how good his story it was and how much he liked it. The writers make a good living out of these stories, the lad said. Joe asked if he knew her. The boy explained that he did not, but read all of her stories and knew a man who works in the newspaper office. Joe could think of nothing but the address of the newspaper and decided to try for the $100 prize given for an amazing story.
Jo told no one of her plans and went to work the next day. She'd never written such a dramatic story before. She sent the story to the newspaper and explained if it didn't win the prize, she would be very happy to get any money they might decide it was worth. Jo waited 6 weeks, keeping her secret from everyone. Then one day, she opened a letter and a check for $100 fell into her lap. She read the letter and cried. The letter was encouraging and meant more to her than the money. She proudly went to her family and showed them the letter and explained that she had won the prize. When the story came, everyone praised it. Her father said, "Always aim for the best." Jo decided to use the money to send Beth and her mother to the beach for a month or 2. Beth argued it was too much, but Jo talked her into going. And although Beth didn't come back as rosy as they'd hoped, she was much better.
Jo earned more checks for her writing that year. She paid the bill to the butcher, put down a new carpet, and bought groceries and new gowns. She decided to try for something even bigger. She copied her novel for the 4th time and then sent it into 3 publishers. She was told that if she cut it down in size and cut out all the parts she liked most, it would be published. "Don't spoil your book," her father said. "Wait and see." Jo feared that she had worked on it so long, but didn't know any longer if it was good or bad. But Meg said the story would be spoiled if she left part of it out. Amy thought she would do what the publisher, Mr. Allen, said. He knows what would sell. Jo asked Beth for her opinion. Beth said, "I would like to see it printed soon." The way she said the last word brought a chill to Jo's heart.
Jo took the book and cut parts of it, trying to please everyone, but instead pleasing no one. It was printed, and she got $300 and lots of praise and blame. Jo was confused and cried to her mother, "How can the critics' words help me if they say so many different things? I wish I'd printed it in the way it was, or not at all." Her family and friends comforted her, but it was a hard time for Jo. Yet after the first pain of it was over, she learned from what people said about her book and felt herself wiser and stronger. She said, "The joke is on my side. The parts that were from real life were said impossible, and the scenes I made up in my silly head are said to be natural and true. When I'm ready, I'll do another book."
Chapter 11. Meg's New Life. Meg began her married life determined to be a model housekeeper. She wanted John to always find a happy home with a smiling wife and wonderful food. But she became too tired to even smile at times. They were very happy. At first they played house and worked on it like children. Then John spent more time at business, and Meg took to doing the work around the home. A year went by, and at midsummer, Meg became a mother. Laurie snuck into the kitchen one Saturday. "How's the little mama? Why didn't you tell me?" Laurie said.
"She's happy as a queen," Hannah said. "They are all upstairs. I'll send you to them in the parlor." Jo came, carrying a blanketed bundle. "Shut your eyes and hold out your arms." "No, I'd rather not," Laurie said, backing into a corner. "I will drop it. Then you won't see it at all." Jo turned as if to go. "Wait, but I won't be responsible." Laurie shut his eyes while something was put in his arms. Laughter from Jo, Amy, and Mrs. March and Hannah caused him to open his eyes. He saw 2 babies instead of 1.
"Twins," he said. Then he turned to the woman and shouted, "Take them, quick. I'm going to laugh and I will drop them." John rescued his babies and walked with one under each arm. Laurie laughed and Jo said, "I wouldn't let anyone tell you because I wanted to surprise you."
"It's a boy and a girl. Aren't they beauties?" the proud father said. "The boy's named John Lawrence and the girl Margaret. We shall call her Daisy so we won't have 2 Megs." "Name the boy Demi John and call him Demi," Laurie said. Jo clapped her hands. I knew Teddy would pick it right. Daisy and Demi.